Real Madrid hosting Atletico Madrid in the first leg of the round of 16 matchup in the Champions League. It honestly feels like these guys play each other every single week, and you can imagine for Ancelotti and Simeone, they basically cannot do any more research or any more scouting. They know each other so well. The last three matches between these teams have ended in a 1-1 draw, and overall Real Madrid has 21 wins while Atletico has 13, and there's been 17 draws between the two. And of course, it feels like anytime they play each other in big games, Real Madrid is the one that comes out on top. But as much as Real Madrid has better players and more big-time names, it always feels like Diego Simeone has a better team who are always willing to fight for him and the fans. We always break down these videos with their current form, any injuries that they may have, predicted lineups, and who I think each manager is going to select in the starting 11. And finally, we finish it off with the predicted score, which, as you guys know, if you guys have watched these videos before, you can go ahead into the comment section down below and write down who you think is going to win and what the score is going to be. Whoever guesses right will win some free Champion Grind grip socks, courtesy of my boy Georgie over at Champion Grind, as well as some Next Goal Wins TV stickers. We've done maybe 15 of these videos and have only had one winner so far, so don't waste any more time and let me know in the comment section down below. So let's take a look at the current form of each team. I like to go through their last 5 matches just to see how they're coming in from a confidence and a mentality standpoint. We'll start with Real Madrid. They lost to Real Betis and the legend Antony 2-1. They beat Real Sociedad 1-0. They beat Girona 2-0. They beat Manchester City 3-1. And they also tied against Osasuna 1-1. So relatively good results if you're Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid actually unbeaten in their last 5, although not as many wins. They just beat Athletic Club 1-0 in La Liga. They tied Barcelona 4-4 in what was probably one of the most entertaining matches all season across all of Europe. They beat Valencia 3-0. They tied against Celta Vigo 1-1, and they also tied against Real Madrid 1-1. So from a confidence standpoint, both teams in a really, really good spot. With the recent drama with Jude Bellingham and him saying F off to the referee, which he got confused with FU, it all means that he has to sit this one out, which is going to be a big blow for Madrid, who also have Dani Ceballos and possibly Federico Valverde out as well. That means that Ancelotti will have to make some changes to his typical starting 11 for sure, while Simeone has the majority of his players available, with the exception of Azpilicueta and Koke. And depending on how Azpilicueta is feeling, he may be available. So Simeone really coming in with all of his best players available and a lot more flexibility for how he wants to set up the bus for this one, which leads me into the predicted lineups. Each manager with their own unique set of problems. Ancelotti is going to have to figure out whether he gives time to the older, more experienced players, or if he wants to take a risk and give players like Endrick and Arda Güler some game time. So here's how I think Real Madrid are going to line up. Courtois in goal. They're going to start Ferland Mendy on the left, Lucas Vazquez on the right. In the middle, they're going to have Antonio Rudiger and David Alaba. Tchouameni and Camavinga are going to be their 2 6s, and I do believe he's going to go for the experience, and he's going to put Luka Modric in that number 10 spot. The front three are going to be their best front three all season, with Mbappe up top, Rodrigo on the right, and Vini Jr. on the left. I know there's been a lot more pressure on Ancelotti for the fact that he hasn't given Endrick or Arda Güler as much playing time as he probably thought he was going to be able to give them this season. So it'll be interesting if players like Luka Modric or Camavinga are going to be the ones that are going to start on the bench in order for some of the younger guys to play. But I do think that that's exactly how Real Madrid are going to line up. As for Atletico Madrid, I think it's going to be a little bit more complicated because they can either come out in their traditional 4-4-2, which has been a really, really successful way of defending and just a solid overall structure that Diego Simeone has implemented over his probably decade that he's been at Atletico de Madrid. Or he could also come with the exact same lineup that he used against Barcelona in that 4-4 draw, which was the 5-4-1. I think he's a little bit more likely to go with a 4-4-2. This is how he's played against Real Madrid over the past few years, and I think it's been relatively successful. Jan Oblak in goal, Molina and Galan as the 2 fullbacks, Lenglet and Lenormand as the 2 center backs. In front of them, they're going to have De Paul and Barrios as the 2 center mids, with Lino on one side and Simeone on the other. And then up top, I think they're going to go for Julian Alvarez and Antoine Griezmann, but don't be surprised if Griezmann is on the bench and Sorloth is the one that's starting instead, because anytime he plays against Real Madrid or Barcelona, that guy seems to just score a lot of goals. So I think this is the most likely case. However, don't be surprised if they come out in the 5-4-1 and they really try and park the bus. I think if he does do this, he'll go with Jan Oblak in goal. He'll push Simeone to that back line to make it that line of 5. Lenglet Jimenez, Lenormand, and Molina will round out the rest of the back line. In front of them, it'll be Barrios and De Paul, with Antoine Griezmann playing out wide and Lino playing on the other side. And then, of course, Julian Alvarez as the lone striker. It'll be interesting if he goes with this lineup because this is a much more defensive lineup. You're parking the bus, you're basically allowing all of the pressure, and then you're going to try and hit Real Madrid on the counterattack. And this is a formation that is almost guaranteed to give up very few goals against any opposition. No matter how good they are, you're parking the bus, you're not giving them any space whatsoever, and yet they used this against Barcelona and gave up 4 goals. So I'm not sure if he's going to be this defensive because I think he wants to give himself a little bit more in the attack as far as the counters and just being able to release some players. But if he wants to hold on and basically have all to play for when they go back to the Metropolitano, then I think he might go with this. And like I said, bring that double or even triple decker bus to the Santiago Bernabeu. Given the fact that Simeone will probably come in with the double-decker to the Santiago Bernabeu, I think he's played against them long enough to know how to keep the score low. I have a feeling that it's going to be tough for Real to break through, and even though they will at some point, Atleti will find a way to get a counterattack or a set piece and level it up. And as much as I hate to say this, I think it will be the 4th game in a row between these two teams that ends up 1-1, which obviously is a big result for Simeone as they go back to the Metropolitano and hope that they can do enough there to move on in the Champions League. And what a big result that would be for Atletico. However, the crazy thing is that both of these teams still have the possibility of winning the treble this season. They're very close in the top 3 of La Liga. They're in the semifinals of the Copa del Rey, which means they can potentially play against each other in the final if Atleti beats Barca and Madrid beats Sociedad. And so there's a lot to play for, and obviously don't expect this to be the last time that they play against each other this season. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think is going to happen if you haven't already, and don't forget to check back in a few hours after the match for a full tactical breakdown and analysis. And of course, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, don't forget to do that also. We'll catch you guys in the next one.